Imagine stepping into a world that, well, it captivated millions, didn't it? A family with dynamics unlike almost anything else put under this really intense microscope of public gaze for, gosh, well over a decade. Now, what happens when one of its most recognizable stars decides, okay, it's time. Time to tell my own story. In her own words, far away from the cameras and the edits. Today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that, into the fascinating world revealed in Christine Brown Woolley's memoir, Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom. And our guide for this, our source, is Jessica's really insightful review from Jessica's Reading Room. It just came out September 9th, 2025. So our mission for you today is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from Jessica's take. Give you a shortcut, really, to understanding not just the book, but also maybe the bigger picture. What happens when that public story crashes into a very, very personal truth? Get ready, because you're about to hear things that, well, they were never shown on TV, things that might give you a whole new perspective on a life lived so much in the spotlight. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Christine's initial vision, what did she want? Jessica's review tells us she always dreamed of this picture-perfect family, beautiful kids, a husband who adored her, and this built-in sisterhood of wives to share him with. And this wasn't just like a fantasy. She was raised in Utah by practicing polygamists, as the review notes. She actually loved her childhood full house. It was normal for her. It was the goal. So she dives right in, becomes Cody Brown's third wife back in 1994, really believing she'd found that big, happy family she'd hoped for. Then everything changes. The cameras arrive. TLC's Sister Wives premieres in 2010. And Christine, interestingly, she saw it as her chance, a chance to shine a light on the brighter side of polygamy. She wanted to show the helping hands, the lively discussions, their unmatched devotion. She genuinely thought she could use the show for good to explain their life.
Yeah, and what's so striking there is that contrast, isn't it? Between the dream, that idealized vision she had, and then the public face she wanted to put forward versus, well, the much more complicated reality that eventually came out, especially in the memoir. It really makes you think, how often do our own hopes, our personal expectations actually line up with the stories we tell about ourselves, especially when we live so publicly? For you listening, it's maybe a reminder that even those really carefully polished images, they often hide much, much deeper stories, right?
Absolutely. And this is where Jessica's review starts getting really juicy, peeling back those layers. She mentioned she watched the show years ago, then did a rewatch in December 2023, got all caught up, you know how it goes. And Jessica is clearly invested. I mean, she flat out says she has a favorite former sister wife, Janelle, all the way. And she admits a strong dislike for Cody. She even quotes Christine calling him a total douche, and then adds, referencing that infamous line from the show, "If you've seen the show, then you know it's like a knife to the kidneys."
Wow. That kind of emotional reaction from a reviewer is really telling, isn't it? It shows just how powerful these reality TV narratives can become for viewers. People feel like they know these individuals. So when a memoir comes out, it either confirms everything they thought or it completely challenges it.
Right. And Jessica points out something crucial about the audiobook, which Christine narrates herself. She says, "It sounds just like how she speaks, and it was like she was speaking to me." That must make a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. It cuts through any potential filter, doesn't it? No network editing, no producer's angle, just Christine's voice telling her story. It creates this almost intimate connection, like a direct line. And for Jessica, it clearly made the whole thing feel incredibly authentic. It's Christine taking back her own narrative, quite literally in her own voice.
Yeah, exactly. And the review really stresses how candid she is. Jessica says Christine goes full throttle, telling everything with no holding back.
Yeah.
This isn't just skimming the surface. It seems like it fills in so many gaps for people who watched the show for years. Things like, details about her first kiss at the altar, the wedding night, the later lack of a sex life. I mean, really personal stuff, all the way through to finally leaving Cody and the polygamist way of life. And we also get insights into the dynamics we maybe only glimpsed, like the falling out Christine had with Mary and how her closeness with Janelle grew over time. She also talks about her background, the Mormon religion, polygamy, and makes a really important point clearing things up. She clarifies her dislike for Warren Jeffs and the FLDS, stating very clearly she was not a part of that group.
And that clarification about the FLDS is so important. It's easy for outsiders to lump different groups together. Her drawing that line is part of reclaiming her specific story, her specific background, separate from those more notorious figures, and really that whole act of telling everything, the no holding back part.
Right.
That's what makes a memoir like this so compelling, isn't it? It forces you, the reader, the listener, to compare what you thought you knew from the show with this raw personal account. It highlights that huge gap between a produced storyline, which is always shaped somehow, and the messy, complex reality of someone's actual life. It makes you question how narratives get built.
Okay, let's dig into that messy reality, though. What was really going on behind the scenes, things viewers never saw. Jessica's review confirms some suspicions, but also dropped some bombs that were completely absent from the show. Little things and big things. For instance, something maybe small but telling. Apparently, the sister wives did drink in Vegas, which, might contradict the image presented sometimes.
Right, and even a small detail like that matters. Why leave it out? It suggests a deliberate crafting of the narrative, doesn't it? Maybe to fit a certain family values image, or perhaps to manage public perception of polygamy more carefully. It immediately signals that what we saw wasn't the full picture. Even tiny omissions create that gap.
Exactly. And then there are the much bigger things. Jessica reveals that Christine had thought about leaving Cody but never acted on it way back, early on. So those feelings of unhappiness weren't just a late-stage development we saw play out. They were there for a long time, simmering under the surface. And Jessica also emphasizes how much the family dynamic shifted once Robin came into the picture. That's something many viewers suspected, but Christine apparently confirms it. Jessica's conclusion after reading. Simple. Things are definitely not how they appear on television. It really makes you reevaluate everything you watch, doesn't it?
Oh, completely. That detail about her thinking of leaving early on, that changes how you see so much of the earlier seasons. You watch scenes differently knowing that internal struggle was already present long before it boiled over publicly. It just underscores the pressure cooker these people were living in, trying to maintain that happy family facade for the cameras while dealing with immense personal turmoil. It forces you to reconsider the reality in reality TV.
And then there's what Jessica calls the shocking revelation, the most personal one, perhaps. Christine apparently reveals she was at the beginnings of addiction to oxycodone. But crucially, she realized it and was able to get off of it herself.
Wow, to share that takes incredible courage. It speaks volumes about the hidden battles people fight, even when they're, smiling on camera. That is incredibly powerful. Probably the most profound behind-the-curtain moment Jessica mentions. It just shatters any illusion of a perfect life. For Christine to share that, it's an act of profound vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Owning her entire story, the good, the bad, the really difficult, and it absolutely makes you see her differently. It reframes things you saw on the show. It speaks to incredible resilience facing something like that, especially under that constant public scrutiny. Makes you wonder what else people are hiding.
It really does. But the memoir isn't just about the struggles, according to Jessica. It's also this powerful story of transformation, resilience. It tracks Christine's journey that led her away from the Mormon church and the bold path she is carving to live apart from all she has ever known. That's not just moving house, is it? That's dismantling your entire worldview.
Exactly. It's the core of her finding freedom. It's way more than just leaving Cody or moving states. Think about it. She's disengaging from a plural marriage system, reevaluating beliefs held for decades, stepping away from her community, essentially rebuilding her identity from the ground up. The memoir, as Jessica implies, shows the sheer guts that takes to break from everything familiar and construct something new without a clear map. It's really a story about the power of, self-authorship, defining yourself.
And part of that new definition, that new chapter, involves her relationship with David Woolley. The review highlights her starting over and finding a love that she fully deserves. It feels like more than just finding a new partner. It feels symbolic somehow. Jessica sums it up perfectly. Christine has lived quite a life she's now shaping entirely on her own terms.
It is symbolic, I think, after years potentially feeling, secondary or part of a complex system, as the review suggests. This new relationship seems to represent something built on mutual individual recognition. It's a powerful testament to change, isn't it? That you can reinvent yourself, find happiness on your own terms, no matter how long you've lived a certain way or how public your life has been. For you listening, it's maybe a compelling example that freedom and happiness can be redefined, regardless of the past or what anyone else expects. Personal growth can rewrite any story.
So, wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you? Our dive into Jessica's review of Sister Wife. It's taken us from that carefully framed TV world right into the raw, honest words of a woman forging her own path. Hopefully you gain a clearer sense of that huge difference between a public narrative carefully managed and the complex, sometimes messy, reality of a personal journey, all in, the time it takes to grab a quick coffee. And Jessica ends her review with a thought, a wish really, that probably resonates with a lot of fans. She hopes that Mary and Janelle also write memoirs one day so we can hear their side of their lives. That's definitely an interesting thought.
It is, and that wish, that desire for more perspectives, points to something bigger, doesn't it? It brings up a question for you. How often do we just accept what we see at face value, whether it's on TV, in a news headline, even just in gossip or conversation? Christine's story via Jessica's lens kind of nudges us, doesn't it, to look deeper, to seek out those other narratives, the untold sides, to really get the full, nuanced picture behind any public figure, any story we're presented with. What hidden truths might you find if you looked beyond the surface in your own world or in the stories you come across every day?